we had been discussing about Thales' Arche, the water, and we will be continuing further with Thales' Arche in the 21st century. This is Dr. Ananya Barua, Associate Professor in the Department of Philosophy, Hindu College. So, we had just about discussed that while Thales' specific belief that water is the foundational element of the universe is no longer scientifically accepted in the literal sense, his shift towards naturalism and his emphasis on observation and reasoning have had an enduring influence. Water as a physical substance continues to be of paramount importance in the sciences, environmental ethics, and sustainability debates. In this way, Thales' identification of water as the arche continues to be a symbol of the interconnectedness of life and the vital importance of water in modern ecological and philosophical thought. So, in summary, we can say that Thales' water as arche has not only historical significance but also continues to resonate in today's scientific, environmental, and philosophical contexts. It serves as a reminder of the importance of natural resources and their centrality to life on Earth, offering valuable insights as we face contemporary global challenges. Now, what is interesting is to connect, if a connection is possible, that is, between Thales' water arche and the Indian philosophy of the Mahabhutas, particularly the element of jala or water. While these concepts come from distinct cultural and philosophical traditions, both share an interest in the fundamental nature of existence and the role of basic elements in shaping the cosmos. In Indian philosophy, we see that the Mahabhutas and Jala, particularly in the Sankhya and Yoga schools, the universe is thought to be composed of the 5 fundamental elements known as Panchabhutas or the Mahabhutas or the great elements. These elements are earth, water, fire, air and ether, or Prithvi, Jala, Agni, Vayu and Akasha. Each of these elements is associated with different qualities or properties that shape the material world. Jala in the Panchamahabhuta system represent the element of liquidity, cohesion, nourishment and fluidity. It is associated with coolness, wetness and the capacity to sustain life. Water in this context is also considered an essential force that enables life to thrive and that links all beings through its pervasiveness. In Thales' philosophy, water is the fundamental principle that underpins all life. He saw it as the origin of existence, from which all forms of life and material substances emerged. For Thales, the essential quality of water, its abilities to sustain life, made it a fitting arche. In Indian philosophy, Jala is similarly seen as a life-sustaining element. The Panchamahabhutas system suggests that Jala is foundational to life, nourishment and growth. It is involved in the process of creation and sustenance within the cosmos. Water is essential for the nourishment of plants, animals and human beings and is synonymous with fluidity and motion in the world. Transformative nature. Water's transformative qualities are central to Thales' view. Water's ability to exist in multiple forms suggests to Thales that it can give rise to diverse forms of matter. This adaptability allows water to be the ultimate substance, able to change and become all things in the universe. In Indian thought, Jala also embodies the principles of transformation. It is a fluid, ever-changing substance, symbolizing the flow of life itself. Water can take various forms, solid, liquid, gas, and its fluidity represents the dynamic nature of reality. This fluidity is often linked with the concept of change and impermanence, fundamental in both Indian and Western philosophies. Cosmic unity and interconnection. Thales' view that water is the arche suggests a monistic view of the cosmos. All things from stars to the earth ultimately derive from water, implying a unity of all existence. In Indian philosophy, the Pancha Mahabhutas are not isolated elements but interconnected forces that form the fabric of the universe. Jala in the Panchamahabhuta system represents the interconnectedness of life as it flows through rivers, seas and bodies, linking all forms of existence from the macrocosm, the universe, to the microcosm, individual beings. The presence of water in all forms of life also suggests that unity of existence and the interdependence of natural elements. Water is the fundamental element. For Thales, water is the essential building block of reality, and everything in the universe can be traced back to it. His proposition of water as the arche is an attempt to find a single unifying substance for the cosmos. Similarly, in the Indian Mahabhutas, Jala is seen as one of the most important elements, playing a central role in the balance and functioning of the universe. While the Panchamahabhuta system does not single out one element as the ultimate first principle in the way Thales did, Jala holds a significant position as a vital force that sustains all life. Both Thales' idea of water as the arche and the Indian conception of Jala have relevance in modern scientific and philosophical contexts, especially in fields like ecology, environmental science and metaphysical discussions about the nature of reality. Water as a unifying element in nature. In today's scientific understanding, water remains central to life, ecosystems and planetary health. From an ecological perspective, water connects all life forms, just as Jal does in Indian philosophy. The global water cycle, which involves the continuous movement of water through evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, illustrates the interconnectedness of all things. Water and philosophy of nature. Both Thales and the Indian understanding of Jala invite us to think about the material and spiritual significance of water in a world that is increasingly aware of the need for environmental preservation. The sacredness of water in many Indian traditions mirrors its profound significance in Thales' system as the most basic and essential substance for life. So we do see that the connection between Thales' water arche and Jala in Indian philosophy highlights a shared vision across cultures of water as a primal force and life-sustaining element. While their contexts and metaphysical goals differ, both Thales and the Indian Panchamahabhutas represent water as the basis of life and a symbol of cosmic unity. Now, in modern times, this resonates not only in philosophical discussions about the nature of reality and existence, but also in ecological discourses surrounding the importance of preserving water resources in the face of global environmental challenges. Thus, despite the different historical, cultural, and metaphysical frameworks, the idea of water as both a material foundation and a symbolic principle connects the ancient Greek and Indian traditions in profound ways that are still relevant today. Now, what is interesting is we all understand that the fact that water constitutes 70% of the human body and covers 70% of the Earth's surface, and that adds a fascinating layer of relevance to Thales' concept of water as arche. This symmetry between the proportions of water in the human body and in the environment mirrors, in a symbolic and literal sense, Thales' notion that water is the fundamental substance of the universe. And this further connects us to the understanding that we are part of nature. Nature is us. We are nature. We are not distinct from nature. We are not different from nature. So the attempt to replace eco with ego would really cause a havoc. Now, also the 70% water content in the human body is not just a biological fact. It is very interesting that the earth also has exactly 70%. And this is just not a coincidence, or it is just not a biological fact. It reflects a deep, almost poetic resonance with Thales' view of water as fundamental to life. Thales might have seen these as evidence supporting his belief that water is the arche that binds all things together. The human body itself could be seen as a microcosm of the natural world, an intricate, interconnected system in which water plays a critical life-sustaining role. So, water in the human body is essential for numerous biological processes. It helps transport nutrients and oxygen to cells, regulate body temperature, remove waste, and facilitate digestion. In a sense, water is the carrier of life, much as Thales saw water as the fundamental carrier of existence. Water's fluidity allows it to maintain life in all forms. From the moment a fetus or embryo is created, we know that the creation is covered by a sack of water. And just as it is capable of flowing through the vast networks of rivers, oceans, and clouds across the earth, this interconnectedness of water within the human body mirrors the interconnectedness of all things in the cosmos, a core theme in Thales' philosophy. We also see that as much as from birth of the embryo or the fetus, as mentioned, that is covered in a sack of water, even in death, in a lot of traditions, they consider that carrying the ashes and very respectfully floating it to the rivers or the ocean completes the process of the funeral death and not otherwise. So they say that we come from water and we go back to water. Similarly with the other traditions where the corpse is coffined down, the corpse then gets metamorphosed to moisture, and moisture again is nothing but version of water. So we do see the transformation of water from liquid to gas, vapor, and solid, ice, in the human body, which mirrors Thales' idea of water's transformative nature. Whether it is blood circulation or sweating, water constantly moves and adapts in various forms within us, sustaining different biological functions. Just as Thales saw water as an element capable of becoming all things, water is the human body, in the human body performs a similar function, adapting its form to support life in dynamic and changing conditions. Water helps our bodies to maintain homeostasis and ever-changing equilibrium that keeps us alive and healthy. That was the microcosm. Now, the macrocosm is interesting, for Thales also observed that water is central to all the world and believed it has to be the source of all things. On a cosmic scale, the mere fact, I'm repeating again, that 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by water adds weight to the idea that water is foundational to the structure of the cosmos. In this sense, the Earth itself can be seen as a macrocosmic reflection of Thales' belief that water is the arche. Water as the Earth's lifeblood. we see that the oceans, rivers, lakes, glaciers are vital not only for sustaining life on Earth but also for maintaining climatic and ecological balance. Water plays an essential role in shaping the environment. Its cyclic movement through evaporation, condensation and precipitation helps maintain the Earth's climate and weather patterns. Water's pervasive presence in the oceans as the atmospheric moisture and as fresh water in rivers and lakes suggests that it is indeed a unifying force in the cosmic system. Like Thales's view of water as the arche of all things, the Earth's water cycle connects all aspects of life from the smallest microorganisms to the largest ecosystems. Now further we also see water's adaptability and fluidity in the human body that exists in various forms to serve different biological functions. Water on Earth also adapts to the needs of different ecosystems. In a desert, it may exist as moisture in the air. In forests, it nourishes plant life through rainfall. In polar regions, it exists in the form of glaciers. The transformative quality of water, its ability to take on different forms while maintaining its essence, aligns with Thales's belief that one fundamental substance can give rise to many different forms of existence. Now, the interconnection between microcosm and macrocosm, we see that the 70% of water in the human body and the 70% of water on Earth highlight the profound parallel between the microcosm, the human body, and the macrocosm, the Earth and the cosmos. Thales's philosophy centered on the idea that the same principles govern both the small and the large. The human body with the intricate systems mirrors the larger world where water is the fundamental sustaining force of nature. This symbolic unity reinforces the idea that the element of water is universal, not only sustaining individual life forms but also creating and shaping the entire cosmos. The interconnectedness of life on Earth and the fundamental role of water in both human beings and the planet are expressions of the unified vision. Thales had for the cosmos one that is held together by water is thus the arche. We also see that water's ubiquitous presence in both the human body and the Earth's surface also invites us to think about the philosophical significance of water as a symbol. In many cultures, water is not just a material substance but also a symbol of change, renewal, and transformation. It can signify the fluid nature of existence, the constant flux and flow of life, and the impermanence that is central to many philosophical traditions. So Thales's idea that water is the arche seems to resonate with the understanding. And this understanding, which is water's dual nature, its essential role in both life and death, its ability to sustain life, and its transformative properties captures the cyclic nature of existence. In a sense, Thales's water is like the ever-flowing river of life that sustains all things, symbolizing the continuity of life while also representing the inevitable change and transformation that occur in the natural world. Thus, we see that the fact that the 70% of the Earth is covered by water also has contemporary relevance. Water scarcity is one of the most pressing issues facing the modern world. With climate change, pollution, and over-extraction threatening to disrupt the delicate balance that Thales saw as central to the cosmos. Today, in the study of water systems, whether in the human body, ecosystems, or planetary water cycles, is central to understanding how life is sustained and how we must preserve the vital resource. Thales' insight that water is the foundation of life remains a compelling metaphor for the ecological challenges we face today. Thus, the connection between Thales' water as the arche and the modern fact that 70% of the human body and 70% of the Earth's surface is made of water underscores the universal and transformative power of water. Thus, Thales saw water as the fundamental principle of the universe, the substance from which all life originates and to which all life returns. In today's world, this idea remains relevant not just in biological or ecological terms, but also in the philosophical, metaphysical, and environmental contexts, where water continues to symbolize the interconnectedness of life and the need of its careful stewardship. Thus, water in both human beings and the earth reflects the unifying life-giving force that Thales recognized millennia ago, a concept that continues to resonate today as we face global challenges related to water and environmental sustainability. Water in both human beings and the earth reflects these unifying life-giving force that Thales recognized. And thus Thales proposed rightly that water is the fundamental principle, arche, that underlies all existence, not only in a physical or material sense, but also in a symbolic and existential way. Given that water is essential for sustaining life, its relationship to emotions, mental health, and psychological well-being can also be understood through both metaphorical and psychological lenses. And most of us know that drinking water is considered essential if one gets overwhelmed or if one is anxious. Keeping oneself hydrated is considered one of the easiest ways to maintain the well-being, both metaphorically and psychologically. Thus, Thales' assertion that water is the arche suggests that everything in existence is inherently fluid and interconnected. Water is not static. It constantly flows, changes form, and adapts to its environment, which makes it an apt metaphor for the human emotional experience. Emotions are often characterized by their fluidity and changeability, much like water. Just as water can transform to various states, human emotions shift in response to circumstances, thoughts, and experiences. Thales' idea that water is the essence of all things resonates with the idea that emotions are fundamental to the human experience. Our emotional states, whether joy, sorrow, anger, or peace, are transitory and ever-changing, much like the states of water. Recognizing this fluidity can foster a sense of acceptance and peace, understanding that emotions are natural and temporary. Water thus has long been associated with cleansing and purification, whether through tears, bathing, or immersion in natural bodies of water, example, rivers, oceans. The physical act of contacting water, like washing one's own face or taking a dip in a lake, can lead to a sense of emotional release. Tears are a literal form of water that serves as a release of pent-up emotions. Crying can be understood as an emotional detox, a way that the body to process and let go of overwhelming feelings. Thales' idea of water being the source of life parallels the way water allows us to release emotions, restoring balance to the psyche. Just as water is essential for physical survival, it also plays a crucial role in emotional well-being by fostering a sense of nourishment, balance, and connection to the world. Thus, hydration is directly linked to mental clarity and emotional stability. Dehydration, in contrast, can lead to irritability, mood swings, and difficulty in concentration. Thales' concept of water as the life-sustaining substance can be seen as a reflection of how essential water is to our mental and emotional health. Thus, water in the environment, whether it is clear river, the ocean, or a calm pond, has long been associated with restorative powers. Many people find the time spent near water has a calming effect. The constant rhythm of waves, the sound of flowing water, or simply being near a serene lake can provide emotional healing and a sense of peace. Thus, water symbolizes purification, which can be seen as a metaphor for emotional healing. Just as water cleanses dirt from the body, it can represent the cleansing of negative thoughts, stress, and mental clutter. In some spiritual traditions, water rituals such as washing hands, faces, or bathing are symbolic acts of emotional and mental renewal, providing the mind with clarity and peace. This aligns with Thales' view of water as essential to the renewal of life. Thus, we see that in the same way, Thales believed or viewed water as the unifying force of nature. Emotional balance in humans depends on the harmonious flow of emotions, just as water maintains balance in ecosystems and the human body. The idea of homeostasis, the body's need to maintain balance, can be applied to emotional health. Thus, we see that water is the balance in the human's body. Water content is not only crucial for physical functions, but also for emotional equilibrium. When there is lack of water, it can trigger stress responses, create feelings of anxiety, and diminish emotional resilience. Thales might have seen the body's need for water as analogous to the emotional need for balance. Just as water regulates the body's temperature, fluidity, and function, emotional balance requires the ability to adapt to and flow with different emotions rather than being overwhelmed by them. Thus, we see that the emotional resilience involves the ability to move through difficult emotions, just as water moves around obstacles or flows under the bridges. Resisting emotions can cause stagnation and discomfort, while embracing them allows for a healthy emotional flow and ultimately healing. So this surely makes water as the arche as pointed out by Thales. Thank you so much.